Okay. Should introductory. Excuse me. Attention, please. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, colleagues, and CPT, everyone here present. It's my honor. I'm Dr. Saira Yunus. I'm senior researcher, CPD. I joined here in August this year. It's my honor to welcome you to STEAM 4 of CPD Climate Week 2025. And this session focused on modeling climate risks and socio-economic impacts, finance for climate action. So today's session brings together scholars whose work reflects the urgency and innovation needed to address the climate crisis. And their research explores how climate risks intersect with the economic systems, governance structures, and legal framework. So today we'll hear ideas that challenge conventional thinking and propose new models. As we navigate this session, I invite you to reflect on 3 guiding questions. 1, how can we quantify the model climate risks in ways that inform policy and action? Secondly, what role do legal and institutional framework play in shaping climate resilience? And thirdly, how can climate finance be mobilized equitably to support vulnerable communities and economics? Let us engage with this presentation not only as academic and professionals, but as citizens of shared planet. I look forward to a vibrant discussion that brings these disciplines and inspires solutions. So let's begin. I have today very distinguished panelists with me. First, my left side, Mr. Said Yusuf Sadat, economist, UNDP, United Nations Development Program. And my right side, first, Istiak Shubo, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics, Jahangirnagar University. And then to the very right side, Mr. Rafid Abrar Mia, Research Officer, Bangladesh Institute of International and Strategies Studies. We have 9 papers here to be presented. 7 of them, I guess, are online, and 2 papers will be presented in person today here. And there are some rules that said earlier that each paper presenter will get 8 minutes to present their paper, then maybe 2 minutes extra, then there will be question-answer sessions for 5 minutes. 1 question will be asked from the panel here, panelist, and 1 from the audience. If the audience doesn't have any question, then we'll go for the next presentation to save our time. So, I think, can you help me to check the time? Okay, thank you so much. I should have my mobile with me, then that will guide me. Okay, I have it. No, they'll not go over time. Okay. So, who are online, I also want to remind you not to exceed the time, because that will cut the time for others. So if you have anything else to add, you can next time or some other additional time you can mention it. But today, we'll keep it our time limit with 8 minutes presentation, 5 minutes for question answer. And of course, at the end of the presentation, there will be a 20 minutes of open floor discussion. Then there will be discussion from the panelists, and then we will conclude the session. So first, I will invite Tauhidul Islam. He's from Shahjahalal University. What is that, right? Shahjahalal University. And the title of his paper is Modeling the Ecological Niche and Future Distribution of Equilria melanensis. I have difficult to accent this. Melanensis, right?
Agar tree is called.
Okay.
Equilria melanensis.
Melanensis
Yes,
in Bangladesh. Implication for conservation and climate resilience. Please, go ahead with your result. Melanensis.
I have no idea.
Melanensis, sorry.
CPD তে। Yes, done.
এটা আগে করা উচিত ছিল না। Yeah. Okay. Is this view okay? আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে।
Assalamu alaikum. I'm extremely sorry for late. I'm Tauhidul Islam Upu. I'm from Shahjahalal University of Science and Technology from the Department of Forestry and Environmental Science. I'm an MSc student in first semester. Today I'll be presenting my paper, which is the title and the name of Modeling the Ecological Niche and Future Distribution of Equilria melanensis in Bangladesh, Implication for its Conservation and Climate Resilience. At first, here the brief discussion of the outline. This outline, here at first, I'll be started with the introduction and objective, and then go study area, methodology, resultant discussion, implication, and concluded by the conclusion and limitations. Okay. At first, introduction first. Equilria melanensis, which is commonly known as agar tree, is a very native species in our country, and is a very valuable tree species because it's a different characteristics for medicinal characteristics and perfumery characteristics. But overexploitation and habitat degradation, it has been already listed on the site as appendixes 2. So our study mainly motivated by the assess to how climate change on the impact, further impact threaten the Equilria melanensis across in our country. So here we have mainly two objectives. First one is to identify the current distribution of Equilria melanensis in Bangladesh and to predict future potential habitat under the different climate scenario. Here our full study area, we take 259 plots from those study area, mainly agar-prone areas in the country, like as Sylhet region, Tangail region, and Chittagong Hill Trek region, Teknaf, and Cox's Bazar. Now we move forward for the methodology part. Mainly, at first, we divided the plot into 20 by 20 meter plot and design, and taken the plot by systematic sampling. And we take GPS location from the center of each plot, and by this way, we take 259 plot from whole region of the country, Chattogram, Cox's Bazar, and Tangail. Mainly, we used some materials like as Excel, R, and ArcGIS for our different analysis and GPS. Okay, here the brief full workflow of my project paper, because at first we collected 259 plots from different region of the country, which is called the occurrence data, and we also take CO2 absence data, which is the number of CO2 absence is 500. And then we take present bioclimatic variables from the World Clim website and the future bioclimatic variables from CMFE6 model. And mainly we take 19 bioclimatic variable. After the collinearity problem, we only take 6 bioclimatic variables, and then this is predictive variables and species data are run into our species distribution modeling, and we used mainly 5 algorithms, GLM, random forest, Maxent, Mars, and the BRT model. And for the increase our accuracy in the model, then we assemble our model and get present habitat suitability of equilibrium allocences, and also get future habitat suitability in mainly 2 scenarios, SSP 245 and SSP 370 in 2 time period, 241 to 260 and 261 to 2080. Okay, then we move forward for the result and discussion part. Here mainly at first we show the model performance because we use 5 algorithms. Here we can see mainly model performance is evaluated by 3 characteristics. Those are AUC, area under curve, correlation, and TRR value. Here we can see that random forest shows the highest AUC and correlation and TSS value, and random forest show the best performance for our prediction for the future and present time. And also Mars and Maxent also show good, but GLM is the lowest performance shows in the model performance. Then here we see the model uncertainty. Here we can see most of the frequency are shown are present in the 0.05 and 0.15 standard deviation. That means histogram mainly indicating that majority of the country are moderate to the low uncertainty, and this confirms that our ensemble model is statistically robust. Then here we go, the current habitat suitability of equilibrium allocences. We mainly divided the suitable area into 4 categories. First one is highly suitable area, moderate suitable area, and less suitable area. Here we can see the different area of the different suitable region. Like high suitable area is 730 kilometers squares, and moderate is 5,701 kilometers squares, and also suitable and least suitable area. Then here we see the future habitat suitability in different scenario, SSP 245 and SSP 370. Here we can see that in every scenario, the suitability of equilibrium allocences is continuously decreasing. So it is a red alert for us. Then here we show the percentage of different scenario. Here we can see the high habitat suitability and moderate suitability is fully decreasing in the different SSP scenario, but we can see the suitable area is somewhat increasing, and less suitable area also be increased. Okay. Then we identify mainly 6 key variables, which is mainly drivers of the suitability of equilibrium allocences. First one is Bio 3, which is called isothermality, Bio 8, mean temperature of wettest quarter, and Bio 9, which meaning the mean temperature of driest quarter, Bio 15, Bio 18, and Bio 19. Then here we see the response curve of equilibrium allocences in different climatic variables. Like as here at first we see the Bio 3. Here we can see increasing the Bio 3. Bio 3 means isothermality. Increasing the isothermality, the habitat suitability also be increased, and peak around 47 to 48 variability. That means here we can see equilibrium allocences mainly commonly cultivated habitat suitability in the moderate to low certain area. Then move forward, Bio 8. Here we can see.
You have 1 minute.
Yes. Oh, thank you, ma'am. Here also response curve also shown different bioclimatic variables, Bio 18, Bio 15, and also Bio 19 and Bio 9. Then here we can see climatic shift. Why the Sylhet region is continuously decreasing the equilibrium allocences? Here we can see that difference, Hellinger's value and the Schoener's value. Here we can see the climatic variables of the Sylhet region is fully changed in the different scenario, but the Chattogram regions is moderate similarly to the present time. So Chattogram region is works for the potential conservation hotspots of the equilibrium allocences, and the equilibrium allocences mainly now present time it is the center. Sylhet is the center point of habitat predicted suitability of equilibrium LSNC, but it moved forward in the Bandarban region, which is 134.9 kilometer in the northeastern region of our country. Then this suitability mainly we used in the different species, also for equilibrium LSNCs, which Bandarban works as the future refugia, and our policies also be implemented based on this data. So here is our conclusion point. We also used this different model in different species, advanced, but here some also some our limitation. The first limitation, we only here used the bioclimatic variables, but we can also use here important abiotic factors we cannot use here, like as soil properties, moisture content, and organic matter, carbon content, pH, and etc. Here the acknowledgement to my teacher and the senior engineer, and thanks everyone. So if there any question, please ask.
Thank you so much for finishing your presentation in time. I'm from Chittagong, so I'm very happy to see these things grow in the hill tracks. I can take one question from the audience, if anybody wants to ask any question. Raise your hand, please. Okay, please, go ahead.
Nice presentation. So you said you used ensemble of 6 image-6 models.
5 models.
Oh, sorry, 5 models. So on which basis you selected the model and what bias correction method you used?
Mainly we used the, based on the literature review, different literature review, mainly species distribution. For the future distribution, mainly used a random forest and Maxent model, Mars model. We used those models from the literature review.
And which bias correction method you used? Did you bias corrected the data?
No, there is no bias correction method.
Okay. Any more questions from the audience? Judges? Panelists? Please.
So can you tell us a little bit about your sampling? How many samples did you collect, and is the sampling random and representative?
Sorry, sir.
How did you sample your data, and is the sampling random and representative?
Yes, sir. We mainly collect our sampling by systematic sampling we followed. At first, we go to the agro-prone areas, then selected a different region which habitat for the agro region, and then we take a 20 by 20 meter plot, and from the center point we get coordinate point. And the CO2, we also take CO2 absence data by using the R in different region of other country.
So how many samples did you collect?
Sorry, how many sample?
Yeah.
Yes, 259 sample.
200?
59.
259, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice presentation. My question is, how can you distinguish between the species shift from climate change or it is for man-made reason?
Mainly, it is two-fold here. At first, we see the species changes the suitability, depends on the bioclimatic variables, and then we see in the next shift that the how socioeconomic factor influence this shift. But no man-made factor is used here now.
I have a question like, what is your recommendation to do immediately to conserve these species, rare species in the hill tracts area?
Yes, mainly the changes in our policy, because we there are different types of agro plantation here, also Dinaspur, Tangail, and other region, but also needed to be give priority in the Bandarban region to agro plantation.
You prefer Bandarban to preserve first?
Yes, mainly hill tracts region, not exactly Bandarban.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next presenter, Mr. Fahad Hussain. Okay, Fahim. And he's from Bangladesh Agricultural University, Mymensingh. And the title of his paper is Introduction to the Pinocchio Model of Economics Utility. You saw the movie Pinocchio, who lies and grow their nose, like that concept, right? Very funny. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thanks a bunch to CPD for giving me this floor. My name is MD Fahad Hussain Fahim, and I'm a recent graduate from Faculty of Animal Husbandry, Bangladesh Agricultural University. And I'm serving as CNN Academy Fellow, Voices from the South program. It is not working actually, please.
এটা হচ্ছে না আপনি এখান থেকে জাস্ট ইয়ে করলে ইট উইল মুভ এই যে এটা ঠিক আছে
As an agriculturist, I do believe that food is the moral right of all who are born into this world. Without food, man can live at most but a few weeks. Without it, all other components of social justice are meaningless. And if we want to induce food and nutritional security, we must have to address climate change. That's why climate change matters to me. Everyone is talking about climate change, but no one is talking about its solution. And I do have a solution, and that is introduction to the Pinocchio model of economic utility. How can laws regulating climate change and the environment support economic development? Well, before delving into my concept, let me introduce with my research question I have mentioned earlier. And my methodologies are very simple. My methodologies are Keynesian economics, where government must intervene to correct externalities. Nobel laureate Dr. A. Smoglu and Robinson's theory on how institutions and laws are essential for the prosperity of a nation or a country. And Nobel laureate Dr. Stiglitz, sustainable prosperity, which is shared prosperity, and relevant laws, which integrates green economy, ecology, and sustainable development. Well, my theme and motivation are very simple. Sustainable development, which includes public and personal interest, with a legal framework to obviate climate anomalies and to induce economic immunity with innovative concept and practical relevance. Well, economic development, that is the first component of my model. Economic development refers to the improvement of the quality of human life emanating from a very long period of economic growth. And economic development is dependent on two motivating factors. First one is geographical location, and we have nothing to do with that. That's totally natural. And second one is efficiency of institution, and we have everything to do with that. And efficiency of institution refers to laws, rules, societal norms of any country. With innovative concept and a practical relevance of economic factors, we can induce the maximum economic development of any country. Well, if climate is changing like that way, climate change could be the new Thucydides trap, where our economic destruction will be inevitable. Here are some proofs, and I want to mention only one from that. That is, global income is projected to be cut by a fifth, with climate damage estimated to reach 38 trillion by 2050, and that's alarming. Well, the second component of my model is law, which refers to the rules, regulation, or obligations of our actions that are prescribed by legal authorities. If we have knowledge, information, and wisdom about climate change with the principles of environmental law, we can develop pragmatic environmental tools. It could be policy, it could be technology, it could be any sustainable practices, which is essential to induce economic immunity. Well, now delve into my model, and that is Pinocchio model of economics utility. Here, economics is a blend of economics and the Latin word lex, meaning law, which represents the intensity of implementation of laws in economic activities. And economic immunity, the first pillar of my model. Economic immunity refers to the capacity of an economic actor to produce legal products or services in any form that is essential for economic development. Second pillar of my model is utility of environmental resources, which refers to the legal authority of an economic actor to use environmental capital in any form for economic development. The third component of my model is climate anomalies, which refers to the degradation or pollution of any component of the environment causing climate change. And final component of my model is economics factors, which refers to the efficiency, fairness, and intensity of the implementation of laws in the whole economic development process. Well, my model says economic immunity is proportional to utility of environmental resources, and multiplied by economics factors. Again, inversely proportional to climate anomalies, which is depicted in equation 1. And suppose consider Luxembourg and Laos, both having environmental resources of $100 billion, and the same climate anomaly rate of 6. But Luxembourg has the most pragmatic legislation implemented to conserve natural resources, and Laos has the least. Then the economic factor for those countries may be 7.5 and 2.3. It is tentative, depends on the intensity and utility of its institutions. Now, according to my model, if you calculate, economic immunity could be for Luxembourg 1 to 5, and for Laos, it could be 38.33. Just see the difference. Well, my model shows how legal systems directly affect ecological and economic resilience by combining environmental resources utility, law enforcement strength, and climate anomalies. Maybe the higher value of economics factors has positioned Estonia, Luxembourg, Germany, Finland, and the United Kingdom at the top of the 2024 Environmental Performance Index, whereas India, Myanmar, Laos, Pakistan, and Vietnam are at the bottom. If we, policy mechanism is very simple, according to my model. First one is mutual cooperation. Shared responsibility prevents climate tragedy. Here is an example, Paris Climate Agreement. Second one is legal accountability. Law ensures sustainable development, like Environmental Protection Act. Third one is regulatory control. Limit pollution and enforce compliance. It could be factory emission caps and chemical use limits. Well, another are market mechanism, like use taxes and incentives for green growth, carbon tax, and eco-friendly tax rebates. Again, another one is rebound awareness. Anticipate unintended factors or effects like higher product prices or job loss from strict laws. Another one is adaptive policies, apply cap and trade, permits and subsidies like European Union emission trading system, green tech subsidies, and another one is green economy. Legalize renewable and sustainable systems like law promoting solar energy and clean transport. Well, what could be the impact of my model? Law footprint is the impact of my model. Law footprint in economic terms can be defined as the comprehensive and effective application of laws in two ways. Its applicability during the production of financial capacity and the advantages that arise from the implementation of the law. Here, actor could be individual, government, institution, industries. And outcomes could be sustainable development and climate justice. Here is an example. We must have to address realism and theory or academic analysis. Example is Sri Lanka's fertilizer ban shows law must balance reality and idealism. Well, if law footprint is induced or implemented in society, our institution will have legal framework, individuals will have law footprints, government will have choice and policies, economic giants will have
Fahad,
green
I
economics.
think you have to wrap it up.
Yes.
Your
Development could be sustainable. Well, policy roadmap is very simple, just a diagnosis, legal drafting, implementation, monitoring, and impact assessment. Goals, sustainable and legally empowered future, and tools could be technology to induce good governance. Here are references, and thanks a bunch everyone for your kind attention, and I'm ready for your question, and
you can
you
show
can
the
ask me any
recommendation.
question.
You can show the recommendation page here, because you went too quickly. Do you have any recommendation in your slide?
No.
No? Okay, conclusion?
Yes, ma'am.
Then show it. Conclusion, please. The previous slide. Help karo.
Previous slide-টাতে একটু যেতে বলেছি।
Now you can ask questions. If you have any questions, you can ask from the audience. If not, then judges. Yes, please.
Thank you for your presentation. My question is, hearing about your presentation and reading your paper, it appears that the entire model you have made is more of at the conceptual level. So I would like to know that what indicators or data set would measure the economics factor practically, and how would you validate the argument you have made that higher economics factor actually improve the economic immunity in the country? So these are the two things I would like to hear from you. Thank you.
Well, sir, economics factors refers to the efficiency of institution, and efficiency, fairness, etc. So efficiency of laws in practical or pragmatic level can ensure us sustainable development. If we can motivate people to avoid, you can say, glasses, or it could be plastic. Motivation is not sustainable, but if legal obligation is implemented in this context with a proper and pragmatic alteration, or with a pragmatic solution, or with a pragmatic alternative types, we can ensure the economic immunity of a country or institution. Well, sir, it is not an individual or single process. It is a gradual and piecemeal process. It could be individual, it could be institution, it could be governance, or it could be policy, it could be a combined process to analyze this issue and to address this issue with inclusively. It is not only one factor. If we consider a hatchery, or if we consider a poultry industry is related to hatchery, breeder farm, boiler breeder farm, layer breeder farm, and producers also, and sales management also. So if we consider, and if we want to calculate the actual value, we must have to address those inclusively and pragmatically. Then we could find a tentative, or we could find a relative result, and sir, that could be implemented to my model. Sir, I hope you could answer the question.
I think he wants to know about the real practical situation where you can apply, or we can apply this model. Like, which country is using it? Do you have any example of the model who are using this model?
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, first of all, this model is my blue sky thinking and my brainchild, and actually no country is using, but I think country should approach to use my model. But it is totally my brainchild, my blue sky thinking, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
You use the theoretical framework of Keynesian economics, and we know similar kind of thought already exists in Keynesian economics.
Yes,
We
sir.
have strengthened our institution for economic development. So, why your model is unique? And if we want to estimate your model for various countries, how can we estimate? Can we estimate for statistically? And how can we validate your model? Any model, it is your unique model, but we have to prove it by statistical analysis. So how can we statistically measure your model? Any framework or suggestion for us? So, for example, Bangladesh want to estimate your model. So how can we estimate Econolax model for Bangladesh?
Well, it could be utilized, or it could be analyzed through the previous data we have and the efficiency of our institution, and different list or different listing from different institutions, like different types of index. It could be environmental index, it could be economic index, and it could be our internal source or our internal researches. And those data could be relevant for my model.
You haven't tried it, right? You haven't
Yes.
tried it. You
No.
No, you haven't tried it. So if this model is wrong or right, you don't know anything about it.
No.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for your nice presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry. Next, I think the presenter from Bangladesh, Mohammad Sadat Sakib, Nushrik Rahman, Nawazis Ahmad. I think they will present online. And the title of their paper is Social Justice in Climate Finance. Who benefits from international aid in Bangladesh? Oh, sorry. This is the different study? No. Okay, comparative study of river grading indices and their relationship with peak discharges of the river Jamuna. Is that the right one? I think
Yes,
so.
yes.
Who is presenting? Mr. Sadat Sakib? Who is presenting?
Us both. My name is Nusif Rahman and my co-author is
Hello?
Mohammad Sadat Sakib.
We can't hear you.
Hello.
Hello? What happened?
Hello. Am I not audible?
No, you are not audible at all. And not visible either. So, yes.
Hello, can you see me?
Now we can see you.
But can
So,
you hear me now?
okay. So there, you are from Military Institute of Science and Technology, MIST, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Go ahead with your presentation. You have 8 minutes.
Okay, ma'am. Let me share.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Nusrik Rahman. Today with my co-author Mohammad Sadat Sakib, we'll be presenting a comparative study of river grading indices and their relationship with peak discharge of values of the river Jamuna. Next slide. Our presentation will include background, study region, objectives, methodology, results, conclusion, significance, recommendations, as well as references. Next. Now, the background of the Jamuna River, it is one of the 3 major rivers of Bangladesh. Over the decades, however, the river has displayed extreme variability in terms of channel pattern, width, and also shown strong monsoonal flows. As such, it plays a vital role in hydrology and socio-economic framework of nearby regions. Now, the reason for choosing Jamuna River as the study area is because of its braided nature, the frequent morphological changes that come with it, and the socio-economic importance. Next. The objectives behind our research are assessing the status of grading of Jamuna River using different grading index models, analyzing temporal variations using annual peak discharge values, then identifying which grading index exhibits the strongest correlation with regards to R-square values. Next slide. Now for my co-author, Mohammad Sadat Sakib.
Okay, so now am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, Sadat.
Okay, so I'm going to explain the methodology behind the research. So to analyze the status of the Jamuna River, we had to calculate the index values. We calculated 4 parameters, which were the platform index, grading index, bar index, and the number of islands. The data required for each index were for grading index, bar index, and number of islands. We needed satellite imagery, which we collected from the USGS Earth Explorer. And for platform index value, we needed the cross-section, water level, and discharge data, which was collected from BWDD. All these data were collected for the monsoon period, during which the discharge reaches its peak. We used ArcGIS and Excel for the calculation, ArcGIS for digitization, and Excel for R-square value generation. So first of all, the platform index. This is for a specific cross-section. The value is determined from the top width of the river and the total width divided by the total number of channels. For example, I can show you for the year 2005 at the station RMG 11, we can see the cross-section of the river. Here we have distinct 6 channels, and the length of each channel were measured by plotting the reduced level versus distance graph of that channel. And finally, platform index value was calculated for the year, which was 6.95. Similarly, the values were calculated for 2006, 8, 10, 11, and 12. And for this period, platform index values are as seen in the screen. For the grading index value, it was measured through the main channel distances and the side channel distances The LS is the side channel, LM is the main channel. For example, for the year 2001, we first specially referenced the satellite imagery in ArcGIS like this, and then we calculated the main channel distance, which is indicated by the green line, the side channels which are indicated by red line, from the Bahadurabad to Shirajganj region, and the main channel distance, side channel distance were calculated in ArcGIS, and the rating index value was calculated as 5.51. Similarly, for 2001, 4, 6, 7, and for these 5 years, we can see the rating index values as such. For the bar index value, the individual bar lengths were calculated with relative to the straight line distance between the two stations, where LR is the straight line distance, LB is the bar length. Similarly, in ArcGIS, we specially reference the satellite imagery collected, and the individual bar lengths and the straight line distance were calculated. Here, white line represents the straight line distance, and the red line represents the bar length, for which the value was found 5.84. Similarly, for the year 2001, 4, 6, 7, and 11, the bar index values are as such. Finally, the number of islands we calculated in ArcGIS, especially referenced the satellite imagery, and then identified the individual bars, and then calculated the number of islands for the years 1, 4, 6, 7, and 11. Here are the number of islands. Finally, we analyzed these values based on this chart right here. We can see for bar index and braiding index values, a lower value indicates a lower braiding, while a higher value indicates a higher braiding, which is opposite for platform index, where a higher platform index value indicates lower braiding, and a lower platform index values indicates a higher braiding of the river. Here we can see that throughout the years, the river Jamuna shows a moderate to high braiding intensity throughout all of the years. Finally, the values were plotted against the peak discharge value of those specific years. We can see the platform index values decrease as the discharge value increases, which shows us that a higher discharge leads to greater braiding, because lower platform index values indicate a higher braiding intensity. But for braiding index value, bar index value, and number of islands, a higher discharge results in a higher braiding index value, which also means that higher discharge indicates higher braiding intensity. And through this, we can just calculate the R square values, and for this we can see the braiding index shows the highest statistical correlation with discharge with a value of 0.74. Okay, Mr. Kraman.
Thank you, Sadat. Now we would like to conclude by stating that consistent high braiding intensity was seen for the braiding index and bar index models. However, moderate braiding intensity was seen for the platform index model due to the presence of temporary bars. Our research states that increase in discharge means increase in braiding intensity. In this period, the strongest correlation was seen with braiding index. Though empirical, a positive correlation was seen with the number of islands model. So we can conclude that discharge plays a crucial role in influencing the river's morphodynamic behavior. Next slide.
Thank you so much.
The significance.
Oh, okay. You didn't finish it? Why?
Now we have only 2 more slides.
Okay, go ahead.
Our significance involves the objective assessment of morphodynamics, the establishment of a morphological baseline, foundation for automated monitoring using AI and ML, as well as future integration with modeling tools. Next slide. Our recommendations involve using multiple stations other than the ones we used, using LiDAR and drone mapping, as well as studying tidal river management systems. Next slide. These are the references that we've based off our research on. Next slide. Thank you.
Can you show the slide of the recommendation?
Sadat.
Yeah.
Sadat, recommend.
Yes. Okay. So, anybody want to ask any question? This side. From this side. My right side. Okay. My front side. Okay. Left side. You can ask your question. Your colleagues. Okay, then. Yes, sir. Please.
So could you please explain how your findings relate to climate change?
Yes, absolutely. So basically, what we showed was a higher discharge correlates with a higher braiding intensity, which we quantified it by using the braiding index values. So we can use the index values as such as an indicator that higher braiding index values will refer to higher discharge, because we know that the river Jamuna, we have a lot of in the banks of Jamuna, we have different people who
Can you explain little bit?
Hello, Sadat.
Hello? Oh, you are not online?
Ma'am, I think there may be some. I
Problem?
think there may be Sadat may be suffering from technical difficulty. I'll answer it.
Okay, please.
Could I have the questions again, please?
How do your results relate to climate change?
As we've established a link between the peak discharge values and braiding intensity through the braiding index models, we believe that with regards to climate change, if the adverse impacts increase, it will be showcased through the discharge values. Say, if rainfall were to increase or become delayed, the peak discharge values would increase beyond the thresholds that we've showcased in our research. As such, more braiding will happen, and which will lead to, say, further erosion of arable land or forced migration there.
Okay, thank you.
The latest data you have used is for 2011 or 2012. Why not it is for 2023-24?
I'm afraid that's because those years are the ones for which we found peak discharge values. We've tried to find peak discharge values, but beyond the 2011, we couldn't exactly find that too from an accurate source. So we couldn't go as far as that time period.
Okay, I have particularly two questions to you. You have used the, for the remote sensing based morphometric study requires seasonal variation and spatial resolution error to be adjusted. In that regard, how did you address the uncertainty of satellite imagery and spatial resolution error along with the hydrological data? That is the one thing I need to know. And another point is the index value. I mean, you have shown us some reference values that above 1 is the high, high, medium, low. Is it something pre-established by literatures and other studies, or it is an arbitrary parameter you have maintained and follow? Thank you.
As for the parameters are not our own brainchild. Those actually have been established in pre-existing research. We've shown that in the references. And as for your first question, I'm afraid we haven't exactly considered that angle as to how despite how the invariability will affect our research with regards to 3D mapping of sediment. We figured that since we would be using light technology, the consequent 3D mapping that we would get would be the consequent efficiency would remove all errors that we would come across. But otherwise, beyond that, we do not have an estimation or a method.
I have only one question. The background of your screen is made by you, the background of your screen. the background.
Oh no, ma'am. This is the Zoom default background. I just kept
That's
it
what
there
I'm
because it
thinking,
looks
but
nice.
it looked like
I
real.
use it.
Thank you so much.
I am an international climate fellow. So thank you.
Okay. Good. Thank you. We'll go for the next presentation. I think number 4 presenter is not present, so we'll skip that part and we'll go for the 5th presenter, Ms. Sohagi Akhtar. And she's from the Shahjalal University of Science and Technology, Sylhet. And the title of her paper is The Dual Dimension of Sustainability in South Asian Countries. Sohagi Akhtar, is she online?
Assalamu alaikum.
Go ahead with the presentation. Hello.
Good afternoon, distinguished chair, respected panel members, and fellow participants. This is Sohagi Akhtar, a fourth-year undergraduate student from Department of Economics, Shahjalal University of Science and Technology, Sylhet, Bangladesh. It's my great pleasure to present our research titled The Dual Dimensions of Sustainability in South Asian Countries, Carbon Intensity and Forest Cover in a Common Correlation Effects of Mean Group Framework. This work is a joint effort with another author, Professor Mahmuda Sultana ma'am from the same department. Our study explores the interconnected dynamics of sustainability through the lens of carbon intensity and forest cover, employing the CCMG estimator to account for unobserved common factors
Ms.
and
Sohagi,
cross-sectional dependent.
Sohagi, we cannot see your presentation. Do you have presentation slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Please share your presentation slide. And make it bigger screen. Click on the cup down. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. My outline is introduction, literature review, research gap, methodology, then result and discussion, and strength and weakness, and last is conclusion. First of all, I will go for introduction section. Sustainability has emerged a central concern. Sorry. Sustainability has emerged as a central concern in complementary economic and environmental discourse, especially within rapidly advancing region like South Asia. Countries like Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka are witnessing robust economic growth, which is increasingly accompanied by environmental strain. Two interrelated indicators of sustainability are carbon intensity and forest cover. These indicators jointly capture both the environmental burden imposed by development and ecosystems' ability to absorb and counteract the burden. While carbon intensity reflects the extent to which economic activities contribute to the greenhouse gas emissions, forest cover as natural carbon sink and a key component of ecological stability. The dynamics of carbon intensity in South Asia have been influenced by rapid industrialization, urbanization, and heavily dependent on fossil fuels. Simultaneously, forest ecosystems in the region are under stress due to agricultural expansion, infrastructure development, and population pressure. Then I will go for literature review.
Please skip it. Skip, since you have limited time, please skip the literature review section.
Then I will go for research gap. Most of the existing research on the environmental goodness curve, emissions, dynamics, mainly focuses on carbon emissions, but pays little attention to forest cover, which is an equal important aspect of sustainability. In addition, many traditional panel methods overlook unobserved common factors and cross-section dependence among countries. Ignoring these issues can lead to biased and inconsistent result. To address this gap, our studies applies the common correlation effect mean group estimator developed by Pesaran 2006, which is well suited for panels affected by unobserved common shocks and allows for heterogeneous relationships across countries, ensuring more robust results. By analyzing both carbon intensity and forest cover, we provide a more comprehensive view of dual environmental dimensions of sustainability in South Asia. Then I will go for methodology. Our data source is World Bank's World Development Indicators, which cover South Asian countries, Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. And covering the dataset covers the period 1990 to 2024. We have two models. One consider the carbon intensity as dependent variable, and independent variable was GDP, fossil fuel energy consumption, forest area, population total, and renewable energy consumption. And the other model is consider forest area as dependent variable, and independent variable was carbon intensity of GDP constant, fossil fuel energy consumption, population total, and renewable energy consumption. Then empirical framework. To achieve our studies, we employ the STIRPAT model, which is stochastic impacts by regression on population affluence and technology, proposed by Dietz and Rosa. Our model, the first model explains the carbon intensity as a function of GDP, fossil fuel, energy consumption, forest cover, population total, and renewable energy plus error terms. And the second model, forest area as a function of GDP, fossil fuel energy consumption, carbon intensity, population total, and renewable energy consumption plus error terms. Model justification and estimation technique. Many diagnostic tests showed insignificant dependence and slow heterogeneity. Here, cross-section dependency is statistically insignificant, implying that the correlations across units are weak in statistical terms. Although the Pesaran CD test indicates no significant cross-section dependence, there may still exist latent interlinkage among countries. Unlike traditional methods, CCMG remains consistent whether cross-sectional dependence exists or not, providing reliable generalizable estimate. That's why we employ the CCMG estimator to ensure robust result, as it accounts for latent common factors and heterogeneous slopes. Then I will go for results section. Now I will discuss the results of carbon intensity model, where the dependent variable is the log of carbon intensity. In our model, GDP has a in our results section, GDP has a negative and significant coefficient of minus 0.63%. That's mean 1% increase in GDP reduces carbon intensity by 0.63%. It suggests that in the short run, economic growth leads to cleaner production or improved energy efficiency. Fossil fuel use is positive and highly significant. 1% increase in fossil fuel consumption increases carbon intensity by 0.70%, confirming that fossil fuels are a major driver of emissions. Forest area has a negative but insignificant coefficient. Although the sign is the expected direction, it is not statistically significant, meaning forest expansion doesn't have a consistent short-run impact on the carbon intensity. Population is positive but weakly significant. This means that 1% increase in population raises carbon intensity by about 0.32%. Reflecting mild pressure from population growth. Renewable energy has a strong negative and highly significant coefficient with coefficient minus 1.23. A 1% increase in renewable energy consumption reduces carbon intensity by 1.23%, indicating that renewable energy plays a vital role in short-term decarbonization. Then in the long run results, the lagged carbon intensity is positive but not significant, meaning the past carbon intensity doesn't strongly determine the current levels. Lagged GDP has a positive and significant coefficient, implying that 1% increase in GDP in the previous period increases carbon intensity by 0.62%. So while short-term growth appears cleaner, in the long run, it still contributes to higher emissions, possibly due to rising energy demand over time. Lagged fossil fuel use is negative but not significant, showing no consistent long-run impact. Lagged forest area and lagged population are both insignificant, indicating limited long-term effects. Lagged renewable energy is positive and highly significant, which means that 1% increase in renewable energy use in the past period increases carbon intensity by 0.99%. This may reflect transitional phases where renewable expansion happens alongside industrial growth that still depends on carbon intensive energy. Then the result for forest area. In the short run, fossil fuel consumption has a positive and significant impact on forest areas. Specifically, 1% increase in fossil fuel use leads to about a 0.46% increase in forest area. This suggests that as countries rely more on fossil fuels, the pressure on forest resources such as biomass fuel decreases. Biomass fuel decreases indirectly, helping preserve forest. GDP or economic growth has a weakly significant negative effect, meaning that 1% rise in GDP slightly reduces forest area by about 0.04%, possibly due to industrial expansion or land conversion. Other variables like carbon intensity, population, and renewable energy show no significant short-run impact on forest area. Long-run results. In the long run, none of the variables...
Excuse me, Shahagi. Your slide is not changing. Your slides are not changing.
Ma'am, I discussed this slide. For forest area.
I think you have no time left. Please conclude it by 1 minute or 1 minute. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Then I will go for strength of our study. Many previous studies focus solely on carbon intensity as a measure of environmental sustainability, often overlooking forest cover. In our study, we consider both carbon intensity and forest cover, capturing a dual dimension of sustainability. Additionally, our findings provide practical policy recommendations that are highly relevant for the South Asian region, making the study both comprehensive and policy-oriented. Shortcomings of our studies, due to data unavailability, we could not estimate environmental sustainability of all South Asian countries, which would be more reliable for policy making in this region to maintain the environmental quality. Since the environmental spillover generally occurs across region, further study may employ spatial econometrics model for estimating spatial dependency and spatial heterogeneity. Then I will go for conclusion. In this study, we examined the dual dimensions of sustainability, forest cover, and carbon intensity in South Asian countries using the CCMG estimator, which accounts for unobserved common factors and cross-section dependence. For forest cover, fossil fuel energy consumption has a significant positive and significant effect, suggesting possible substitution from biomass to fuel, fossil fuel, or delayed reforestation responses in fossil fuel intensive economics. Economic growth shows a weak negative association with forest area, and lagged variables are generally insignificant, indicating limited long-term dynamics in forest ecosystems. For carbon intensity, economic growth reduces emissions in the short run, showing some decoupling between output and carbon emission. carbon emissions. Fossil fuel use increases carbon intensity while renewable energy significantly reduces it, highlighting the importance of clean energy transitions. The positive effects of lagged GDP indicates the dynamic adjustment process in emissions. Overall, these findings emphasize the need for integrated sustainability strategies in South Asia. Policies promoting renewable energy expansion, efficient energy use, and strengthened forest management should work together to achieve both energy transition strategies and ecological preservation. Thank you for your patience and attention. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much for your nice presentations. Audience, do you have any question? Burning? Okay. Please ask.
In your statistical analysis, your economic model suggests that from 1992 to 2024, when GDP increases, the carbon intensity decreases. Why your model suggests that, and what could be the reason?
Do you please repeat your question?
In your statistical analysis, your model, your result says that in all these years, GDP has increased, but on the other hand, the carbon intensity has decreased. What could be the reason behind this?
The reason is that economic growth leads to cleaner production or improved energy efficiency. That's why increasing GDP reduces carbon intensity.
Okay. You use a random fixed effect, random effect model for panel, which you take 4 countries, I think. Which model you used?
Sorry?
The model you used for estimation your result is the random test model or fixed effect model? You did the Houseman test, I saw, and it is panel data. You got the data from Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Nepal. So it has to be panel data, and you have to use fixed effect or random effect model or panel var. Which one you use? Can you tell us? Because the results are somewhat a little bit counterintuitive to me. This is your final paper, or you can go back and check your result? Do you understand what I mean? Okay, skip it. Okay.
I have some observation on this paper. The first one is research gap. You mentioned no or very little work is done for deforestation, but I see in the literature lots of work have been done for environmental Kuznets curve for deforestation, especially for Bangladesh and South Asia. Environmental Kuznets curve for carbon intensity, ecological footprint, carbon footprint. So you have to specify why your work is unique. And the general research gap, I think you should revise your research gap, because there are lots of work for deforestation. Environmental Kuznets curve or steer pit model for deforestation exists for South Asia and Bangladesh. And I have also some observation on your methodology. You use CCEMG model, but you do not use any panel unit to test. So I suggest you should use panel 2nd generation unit to test, and also for testing environmental Kuznets curve, you have to address structural break, because for time series analysis there exists structural break, and without considering structural break, and the result mislead us. And also you mention in your theoretical framework, you test environmental Kuznets curve, and we know environmental Kuznets curve means for the initially an economic burden or carbon intensity or deforestation increases with economic development, and further with higher economic development it reduces. So an inverted U-shaped relationship between economic growth or environmental degradation. But, and for testing this, we have to take a square term of GDP. So why don't you use squared GDP term in your model for testing environmental Kuznets curve? And you mention long run and short run, and for long run and short run, we have to use dynamic panel data model, and for environmental Kuznets curve, you should use nonlinear panel ARDL model or PMG model for your short run and long run. So these are my suggestions.
Do you want to answer any question? Do you want to answer question?
Thank you so much. I complete panel unit root test, but did not show here, and I take into consideration the for taking the square term of GDP. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay. We'll go for the next presenter. Sixth paper will be presented by Prema Faria. Okay.
Yes. The last presenter, is she still here?
Okay.
What's her name? Shohagi.
Shohagi, is she online? Is Shohagi online? She is there. Can you? Shohagi, please, can you join again? Miss Shohagi? I think she left.
Okay, it's fine. We can move to the next paper. It's okay.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no,
So
she's
I
here.
just wanted to add that for your paper, you've used the South Asian countries, but the variables that you have modeled, for those we can actually get data for many countries of the world. So ideally what you could do is that you could take all the countries of the world and then run separate equations for different regions of the world, then maybe one global equation, and then maybe regional equations, or maybe regional dummies. Then you can have a South Asian dummy as well. And also within South Asia, it's very heterogeneous because you have India, which is very large. On the other hand, you have Bhutan, which is climate neutral, so carbon neutral. So it's all very, difficult to come to any conclusion. But you could also do country-wise estimations, maybe. So that's my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Shohagi. Now, sixth presenter, Prema Faria Oshi. And the title of her paper is Climate Budgeting and Institutional Reforms. Are you there? Yes, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, am
please.
I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Prema, and I have just finished my master's in climate change from Independent University of Bangladesh. Today, I'll be presenting on climate budgeting and institutional reforms in Bangladesh, focusing on transparency and accountability challenges. So this presentation will explore how Bangladesh plans, allocates, and tracks climate finance, and what gaps exist between policy and real outcomes. So in short, Bangladesh has built a strong policy framework, but the real challenges lies in implementation, weak coordination, underspending, and lack of transparency. To start, let's understand why climate budgeting is so crucial in Bangladesh. So according to Global Climate Risk Index, and also published by German Watch, Bangladesh is the seventh most climate vulnerable country in the world. We face severe and repeated disasters like floods, cyclones, salinity, and storm surges, which threaten millions of people and cause economic losses every year. For example, the 2020 flood alone affected over 5 million people and caused over 0.15 million hectare cropland damage of cropland. So yeah, to adapt and respond properly, Bangladesh needs around USD $116.8 billion as per the NDC, updated NDC. So, so climate budgeting isn't just about spending, it's about survival and long-term planning. Now, how much are we actually investing in climate-related work? So let's see the numbers. In fiscal year 2025, the government allocated climate-related spending for 25 ministries and divisions, but the share is quite low. The climate-related spending is 0.75 of the overall GDP, and the climate share in total budget has gone down from
Excuse me.
0.09. Hello?
Prema,
Yeah.
your slide is not changing. You kept it
I'm
there?
explaining the same slide.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it has gone down from 10.81% to 10.09% from 2024 to 2025 fiscal year. This means the proportion of money going to climate-related projects is shrinking, even though our climate challenges are growing. So to compare, if I want to give an example for the previous slide, so to compare, the education sector usually receives around 15% of the national budget, where health sector receives around 5%. Climate related allocation is just 10%, which is decent, but it's spread across many ministries and not always used effectively. So let's see how the climate finance system is evolved, because Bangladesh has been working on it for more than a decade. So yeah, Bangladesh has a long track record in climate policy. We were one of the first developing countries to create our own climate finance framework. Like in 2009, we created BCC SAP Bangladesh Climate Change Strategic Action Plan, which is focused on climate strategy and adaptation. And in 2010, we have established national budget money around in the past few years. So in 2014, we have established climate fiscal framework, which is integrating climate spending within the national public finance system. In 2020, we have established integrated budgeting accounting system, which is an updated budget tracking tool to identify climate-related spending. In 2022, we have established NAP, we have prepared NAP, National Adaptation Plan. In 2023, MCCCB Climate Prosperity Plan. And in 2025, we have prepared the updated NDC 3.0. So yeah, these milestones show strong policy commitment, but the gap lies in making the systems deliver efficiently at local level. So how are these institutions performing now? Let's look at progress and gaps. So Bangladesh had made some progress, but also faces serious institutional weakness, like the climate fiscal framework was updated in 2024 to improve alignment with the budget progress, the progress that I'm talking about. So the IBAS++ module tracks climate tag projects across ministries. The government has adopted green public financial management, meaning climate and environmental concerns are slowly being built into budgeting decisions. The gaps would be ministries have limited technical expertise in identifying climate projects. There is inconsistency in classification. Like sometimes projects labeled as climate have little real connection. So there's a lack in fund management. Fund management is fragmented between national trust funds, development budgets, and donors. Monitoring and evaluation is mostly paperwork. It tracks spending, but not results or impact. Yeah. So now talk about the bureaucratic issue, the bureaucratic rigidity. So decision making is in climate projects is dominated by civil servants, not engineers or scientists or environmental experts. So as a result, projects are delayed because they go through many approval layers and technical inputs are often ignored. So if I want to give an evidence, according to a study, there was an analyzation of 573 adaptation projects where technical experts were systematically sidelined during project selection and implementation. So, yeah. Okay. So this heavy bureaucracy focuses more on completing paperwork than solving real problems. This also creates room for corruption and inefficiency. So let's look at the 6 major government challenges of transparency and accountability. Opaque procurement. Many projects are awarded without full open bidding. And then elite capture. Politically connected areas are given more importance and they receive more funds than high-risk poor districts. Then project duplication. Ministries often work on the same kind of project like flood protection without coordination. Limited audits. Financial audits check compliance, but not whether projects reduce risk. CSO exclusion, the civil society and NGOs are invited to consultations, but rarely allowed to budget oversight committees. Corruption risks, weak internal controls and absence of performance audits. For an example, according to ADB's 2023 report and IMF's 2021 Public Finance Review, both mention this that Bangladesh climate finance suffers from poor coordination and weak oversight. So now the utilization gap, here I've mentioned about the fiscal year and what the budget, what was the national budget, what was the climate budget, and what was the climate allocation in the GDP. So you can see, Jay, it's like decreasing year by year. Okay, so the finance gaps. Here's the big picture. The scale of Bangladesh climate finance challenges are the promises would be developed countries haven't delivered most of the global finance pledges. Bangladesh gets only a small share of global funds. After 2026, we will lose concessional loans and grants meant for least developed countries, and there is no national fund or system to compensate or for climate-induced losses. Then there are very few public-private partnerships or green bonds existing in Bangladesh. The role of private sector green finance. Between 2024 and 2019, banks provided 74.2% of total green finance in Bangladesh, so they play a key role. However, banks face serious barriers like high transaction costs for checking and monitoring green projects, risk of default because repayment rates are low, lack of trained staff to assess environmental and social risks, then no consistent green taxonomy, so banks define green differently, which can cause greenwashing. Multi-level governance coordination failures. Coordination between different levels of government is a major issue now. So we have strong plans like NAP, NDC, MCC, MCPP in national level. In sectoral level, we have ministries who often don't coordinate, so projects overlap. In city level, some integration in urban projects. There are some integration in urban projects, but limited coverage. In local level, extremely weak capacity, small budgets, and no authority to decide how to spend climate funds. And here comes the climate justice part. So Bangladesh contributes less than 0.5% of the global emissions, but faces among the highest climate losses. So justice and equity must guide climate finance. So we need access to loss and damage funds for extreme events beyond adaptation. Developed countries must keep their promise to provide $100 billion per year for climate finance. Instead, Bangladesh funds should reach the most vulnerable people, coastal farmers, women, or poor households. People affected by climate change must have a voice in decision making, not just be project beneficiaries or participants. Talking about the pathways to reform. So the presentation proposes 4 main areas of reform: fiscal, institutional, transparency, and governance. Fiscal reforms, increasing climate spending to at least 1.5% of GDP, and then using one standard budget classification system for all ministries, introducing green bonds and blended finance to involve in the private sector, creating an independent climate finance authority to manage and monitor funds, empowering local governments with more resources and decision power, training ministry officials in climate finance management, conducting independent annual audits, launching public dashboards to show where money goes, strengthening IBAS++ to track all sources of climate spending, strong anti-corruption safeguards involving civil society in budget monitoring, developing a nation national green taxonomy for BRACs. So yeah, this is all about my presentation. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there any question from the audience? If not, can Rafid make any comment on that, please? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving me the floor. Thank you for your presentation. It seems this paper identifies institutional weakness, but it lacks providing any sort of quantitative analysis regarding the budget allocation and the outcomes across the 25 ministries. Now, I work at BIISS, where I somewhat work with the policy making and policy suggestion periphery. So from my stance, if this paper comes as a policy suggestion, I would like to know that whether the existing allocation for climate finance are equally adjusted, or how are the weaknesses, what is the basis of the analysis, especially based on what indicators we are arguing that these are the problems, and how can we track the climate related expenditures across and compare them with my adaptation outcome. So from this lens, I would like to humbly suggest that while finalizing your paper, you please do acknowledge these issues to assess the effectiveness of your proposed outcome that you came up in these policy recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to answer? Do you have any question? Did you ask any question? Okay, thank you.
You discuss many observation and your findings, but I actually want to know what was your methodology? How can you draw these conclusions and these results?
So it's a secondary search, sort of. So I have gone through the UNDP, ADB, World Bank reports, and some academic research papers, and also some fiscal frameworks, the fiscal framework, the finance division's policies. So after analyzing, I have picked some like key points that they are asking for this. This is the key areas they are considering, that these are the challenges or something. So that's how I have like came up with the solutions.
Is it systematic literature review analysis, or what was your inclusion criteria or exclusion criteria for literature search?
Inclusion, I've just used this title and then I have searched. So I don't really know about the exact system, exact name of the method, but it's just a secondary review from my side. It's a review paper, like it's not my primary research, it's a review paper thing.
Okay, thank you. Yusuf, do you want to say something? Do you want to ask?
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prema.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we'll have the paper presented by the Hansel. This is the 8th paper. 7th and 9th, they are not online yet. So we'll go with the number 8. Presenter, Mr. Hansel Mayambola Wichwa from Zambia. Please share your slides. Thank you. Hansel, are you Hansel? No? What is that? Prema? Prema chehra takon pore dekha gelo. Does it look like hijab that time? No? Prema, can you turn off your screen? Thank you. Now, Mr. Hansel from Zambia will share his slides for presentation.
Okay. Greetings. Thank you very much. So I joined.
We cannot see your
this meeting.
slides, please. Share your screen.
Yes. No. So I joined this meeting. Unfortunately, when I was putting in my final work, I was told, the system told me I was overage, so I didn't go through to give in my final paper. So I just had to join and support the other team. Thank you very much.
Okay, no paper from your side. Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for
Thank you.
your presence. Thank you. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Thank you.
So we don't have any more paper to present here. Do you? No online paper. Okay.
Ma'am.
Are they responding? No? No one online? Okay, paper presentation is done. Okay. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, yes, please.
Ma'am, I am presenter number 5. I am waiting here, but I couldn't get my name.
Presenter, what is your name?
Agampodi Gihan Shama Dharmendra de Silva.
Shaba from Egypt?
No, from Hungary.
No, I think we don't have your paper from other session. We don't.
His presentation was in stream 1. That has already been concluded.
Oh, okay. Okay, this is. Do you want to present here? Because your presentation was in stream 3. 1. Stream 1. That happened in the morning. Now this session is for stream 4. So if you have slide to present, you can share your slides.
Thank you,
You
ma'am.
want to?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you
okay,
very
go
much.
ahead. Okay. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Ma'am, can you see the screen?
Yes, yes, we can see. We can see.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon to everyone. I am Gihan De Silva. I am a third year PhD student. My research topic is the effect of soil isolated different microalgal inoculants on growth and yield attributes, soil carbon dioxide emission, and chemical properties in spring barley. I'm from the Széchenyi University in Hungary. Let's move to the introduction. Definition: microalgae are tiny photosynthetic microorganisms found in soil, water, and surfaces. These small organisms like cyanobacteria, green algae might be small, but they can make a big difference in the fights against climate change. Soil carbon depletion is a serious issue in modern agriculture. Farming practices like aggressive tillage, monoculture, and overgrazing have caused significant carbon losses from the soil, contributing to higher CO2 level into the atmosphere. It causes global warming. Agricultural lands cover roughly 38% of the Earth's land surface, covering approximately 5 billion hectares, but its soil have significantly lower soil organic carbon levels than undisturbed or natural ecosystem, ranging from 25% to 75% less. Therefore, degraded soil on the urban lands have significant potential to sequester carbon and help offset anthropogenic emissions. Soil carbon sequestration may offer a natural and effective approach in reducing atmospheric carbon dioxide levels, thereby contribute to climate change mitigation efforts. This process involves capturing atmospheric CO2 and storing it into the soil as organic carbon, effectively lowering the atmospheric greenhouse gas emission level and improving soil quality and fertility. Microalgae can help to turn the tide. Therefore, photosynthetic microorganisms capture CO2 from the air and convert it into organic carbon in the soil. In fact, microalgae capture carbon 10 to 50 times more effectively than the terrestrial plants, making them as a powerful tool for the climate change mitigation. Microalgae help the carbon sequestration indirectly into the soil in several key mechanisms. They produce organic compounds like extrapolysaccharides that enhance soil structure and microbial activity. Microalgae can break down organic material in the soil by releasing several key enzymes, adding more stable carbon to the soil pool. They also contribute to the soil aggregation, forming clusters of the soil particles that protects organic carbon from depletion, ensuring it is staying in the ground longer. But it doesn't stop there. Microalgae also help indirectly by promoting plant growth and resilience in numerous ways. Microalgae indirectly facilitate soil carbon sequestration through promoting plant growth and resilience, as well as by encouraging the release of organic compounds from plants into the soil through nutrient mineralization, synthesis of polysaccharides, phytohormones, amino acids, and extra inhibitory compounds against pests and diseases. Let's move to the research objective. My general objective is to quantify the different microalgal inoculant influence on soil carbon flux in spring barley. Specific objectives are to quantify the soil CO2 emission in different growth stage of spring barley and to quantify the effect of application of different microalgal inoculants on soil chemical properties. Let's move to the materials and methodology. I have selected 4 microalgal strains: MACC 922 Chlorella vulgaris, MACC 788 Chlamydomonas renahanti. Those 2 belongs to the green algae, and I have selected another 2 cyanobacterial strains: MACC 612 Nostoc piscinale and MACC 597 Palmadium species. These microalgae were obtained from the Albert Kashmir Faculty of Moson Majorva, maintained as an algal culture collection in Hungary. The selected plant material was the spring barley, and I have selected these microalgal powder biomass also. And carbon dioxide, rather than these materials, I have used the CO2 monitoring sensor, which is equipped with soil moisture, soil temperatures, air temperature and humidity and air pressure recording instruments. Then here I have used the closed statistic chamber methods to measure the soil CO2 emission, and I used the AgroCare soil scanner to determine the soil properties. The study area is located in Smart Farm, Sicily Istvan University, Moson Majorva, Hungary. Let's move to the effect of soil application of different microalgal inoculants influence on soil carbon dioxide emission. Experimental design is randomized complete block design with 3 replications and 10 treatments for live microalgal strains and their dry powder forms. Live microalgal inoculant concentration is 250 milliliter diluted into 2.5 liter using distilled water. Dry biomass microalgal concentration is 0.3 grams per liter dry weight. Application rate is the 0.5 liter per plot. Application method is soil application during 2 to 3 leaves stage of the plant using Naxap sprayer. This is the treatment arrangement. Principal mechanism of monitoring CO2 emissions. Soil CO2 emissions were measured using non-steady state closed dynamic chamber method. In this closed chamber method, CO2 gases accumulated in the chamber were analyzed inside the chamber with a compact NDIR sensor that continuously monitored the differences of CO2 concentration between inside the chamber and the atmosphere. The CO2 monitoring sensor provides additional data such as the soil and air temperature, relative humidity of air and pressure. This CO2 monitoring sensor was developed by the Albert Kashmir Faculty, Food Science, Agricultural and Food Sciences, Sicily Istvan University. The soil incubation time period was 30 minutes and CO2 monitoring sensors was inserted into the chamber after 22 minutes. Then CO2 monitoring sensor kept remain in the chamber for another 3 minutes to monitor the soil CO2 level. Soil CO2 emissions were measured during the three growth stage of the plant: vegetative growth stage, flowering growth stage, and harvesting stage. Soil CO2 emissions were calculated using the following formula. And the data analysis were done using Minitab statistical software version 18. And the mean comparison were done using the SIDAC method at 5% probability level. Soil sampling and analysis. Pre-planting soil samples were collected in January 2024 from the depth of 0 to 30 centimeters from the location across the trial site. 3 soil samples were randomly collected from each plot, and these samples were combined into one composite sample to determine the soil properties. These processes were repeated after end of the experiment to determine the changes of the soil properties. The soil samples were kept for air dry for 2 weeks, and these samples were used to determine soil properties using AgroCare Soil Scanner. Soil Scanner was provided wide range of soil data, including soil pH, soil organic matter, total nitrogen, total phosphorus, exchangeable potassium, exchangeable calcium, exchangeable magnesium, organic carbon, potentially mineralized nitrogen, cation exchange capacity, and total aluminum and iron and clay percentage in the soil. Morphological parameters and yield attributes. Fresh and dry biomass of weight. The 1 square meter of quadrant were used to collect the biomass of each treatment, and 3 replications of biomass were collected in each treatment. Fresh and dry biomass weight were determined following the standard laboratory procedure. Plant height were measured during the vegetative growth stage and harvest stage of the crop. Crop yield were determined using 1 square meter quadrants. And yield scale CO2 emissions were calculated using the below formula. Let's move to the results and discussion. Effect of microalgal inoculants on soil CO2 emission in vegetative growth stage of the spring barley. The results revealed that there was a significant difference between microalgal treatments during the vegetative growth stage of the spring barley. The treatment number 1, 2, 3, and 4 were significantly lower than the other treatments of T5, T6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 during the vegetative growth of the spring barley. There was no significant difference found
Mr.
between
Silva.
treatments of... Yes, ma'am.
I think your time is almost over. Please finish it by 2 minutes.
Sorry, ma'am, I couldn't hear you.
Okay, you have 8 minutes to finish your presentation. Now you have to speed up your presentation, and you can take 2 minutes to
Okay, ma'am.
wrap it up. Thank you.
Okay. However, soil CO2 emissions were lower in treatment number 3 and treatment number 4, which were live cyanobacterial application, compared to T1 and T2, which were live green microalgal application. The highest CO2 emissions values were recorded in treatment number 10, which was combined application of live microalgal and powder mass of microalgae. Effect of microalgal inoculants on soil CO2 emission in flowering stage of the spring barley. According to the results, there were no significant difference found between treatments during the flowering stage. Effect of microalgal inoculants on soil CO2 emission in post-harvest stage of the spring barley. The results revealed that there was no significant difference between treatments during the post-harvest stage of the spring barley. The comparison of soil CO2 flux across the different plant growth stage of the spring barley. The results revealed that all the treatment had the highest CO2 emissions value during the flowering stage of the crop compared to the vegetative and post-harvest stage. Yield scale cumulative CO2 emissions with respect to whole growing season in spring barley. The results revealed that the yield scale cumulative CO2 emissions was statistically higher and similar in the treatment number 6, 7, 8, which was powder mass application of microalgae. Moreover, statistically lowest yield scale CO2 emissions were recorded in treatment number 3, which was live microalgal nostoc pincinale applications. According to the results, it's concluded that even though there was no significant difference between yield of all the treatments, however, there was significant difference among the treatments were observed in yield scale cumulative CO2 emissions in the soil. The reason behind the significant difference in the yield scale cumulative CO2 emissions in the soil due to the significant difference in CO2 emission in vegetative growth stage of the spring barley. Effect of soil application of microalgal inoculant on yield attributes of the spring barley. The analysis of the results were revealed that there was no significant difference of the plant height during the vegetative and harvesting stage of the crop. Moreover, results were revealed that there was no significant difference between treatments on fresh and dry biomass of the crop. Effect of the soil application of microalgal inoculant on yield attributes of the spring barley. According to the results, there were no significant difference found in the crop yield among the treatments. Therefore, soil application of different microalgal inoculant had no effect on unit yield of the spring barley. Effect of soil application of microalgal inoculants on soil properties.
Mr.
The results
Silva,
revealed that.
you have to finish it up, please.
Okay. According to the results, no any significant difference in the soil properties. Let's move to the conclusion. During the vegetative growth stage of the spring bar, a significant difference in soil CO2 emissions were observed among the microalgal treatments. Treatment number 1 to 4, which involve in live microalgal application, exhibit significantly lower CO2 emissions compared to treatment number 5 to 10, which involve powder mass application of microalgae. Okay, ma'am. This is my end of the presentation. Thank you for giving the attention.
Thank you so much for presenting your paper. Does anybody have any comments on that paper? Since it is not our session, so nobody has any idea before about your presentation. But if anybody wants to ask any question, do you? No, you? No, no? Okay. From my side, I want to thank you for your, actually it's a huge work you did, and I wish you best of luck for publishing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Okay, thank you. So, we have another presenter here, Miss Shehar from Pakistan. Session 1 থেকে আসছে. From session stream 1. Are you there, Miss Shehar?
Yes, assalamualaikum.
Please, you have 8 minutes to present. Please finish it up by 8 minutes. Okay? Since you are not in this session 4, we cannot evaluate your presentation, but we want you to present your paper so that we could send it to the right session later on. Okay? Please continue.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a time difference that I cannot attend the stream 1. So thank you once again. I'll share my screen and start my presentation.
Please.
Apologize, I face problem to share my screen.
Please share your screen. Do you have problem sharing your screen? We can see your slides. What happened? এটাতে এটা কি আসলো আবার? না, পাকিস্তান Anandita. Okay. Now the paper presenter we are having some technical problem. So I think we can start with the panelist opinion here first. Yusuf, please share your opinion. After this session, we'll conclude our stream 4.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. The first paper was presented by Mr. Tawhidul Islam from Shah Jalal University of Science and Technology on modeling the ecological niche and future distribution of agar wood in Bangladesh. So this was a primary study, and you did some primary research, collected your own data, and did some quite a bit of work on this. And I think the main issue for me was that I did not see much of a strong literature review, because this is an area which I'm not familiar with at all. So maybe if you could tell us, or not now, but in your paper, that where your literature or where your paper fits in the literature, because that would be interesting to see that other papers were presented or published before, and then you have this paper which contributes to some knowledge, which I'm sure it does. So where does it make the contribution that was not there before? So where is the gap? Where is your original novel contribution? So that is one area which I think you can develop quite a bit. Apart from that, your paper was very logically presented, and the methodology seemed quite robust as well. The findings were also explained and illustrated very nicely using multiple different ways and software, and so there was a lot of technical work done here, so that is great. But again, near the end also, another thing that is not very clear is that what is the significance of these results? So how does it relate to climate change, or why is it important for Bangladesh or other countries, or why should anybody be concerned about these things? So because you are doing the research, you think it is important, but it's also important to convince others that this is important. So there, I think there was something which you can do. In general, it's a technically sound paper, and I think you did a good job in presenting it in such a short time. So in the second paper was by Mr. Fahad from Bangladesh Agricultural University, Moymanshing. So this was a paper on the how can laws regulating climate change and the environment support economic development. So this is of course a very novel idea, something very original, but again the way it was handled, I think there is a lot of scope for improvement. Mostly I felt it was more written like a essay, kind of aspirational essay, rather than a research paper. What we understand by a research paper, specifically the place where you mentioned methodology, that really is your literature review, or maybe your not even literature review, it's mostly your inspiration, the people who have inspired you. So rather than being a methodology in the true sense. So this needs some serious work, but if it can be turned into a paper, then it would be quite interesting. And for that, it would take a lot of work, like far more than what he has done, for instance, because sometimes it seems like it's easier to write a descriptive paper, but actually it's much more difficult to write a descriptive paper. So, and to get it published. So it will take a lot of reading and writing for you to come up with it. And the other panelists were also asking you about empirical basis for the model. The model can also be mathematical completely. Then that could also have some basis, but then again, that also was not there. So that is another thing. And beyond that, just the idea is that this has been written more like an essay, so it has to be turned into a research paper per se. Okay, then the next presenter was, presenters were online, MIST, the Mohammad Sadat Saqib and Nusrik Rahman. They were presenting this paper on the study on river braiding indices and the relationship with peak discharge of the river Jamuna. So again, I'm sure a lot of literature has been published on this issue. So again, where your paper fits into the literature, that needs to be clarified. I think your paper was logical, the way you handled the problem at hand and the way you used different sources of data, specifically satellite data and other sources. The methodology also, I don't have any problem with that. And the results, the way you showed them, that also made quite good sense to someone who is not an expert on this subject. But again, near the end, you need to develop this a little more and explain how it is important for Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a riverine country. We have many rivers. We have many transboundary rivers, and Bangladesh is affected by climate change and by erratic and severe rainfall. So those things, maybe they can feature more prominently in your paper. That would, I think, strengthen the paper. The next paper was by Ms. Shohagi Akhtar from Shahjalal University of Science and Technology. Okay, I'll just end and then we'll let the paper come in. So by paper by Shohagi, it was on the dual dimension of South Asian countries, carbon intensity and forest cover. Here, like I said, a lot has been said already. Many papers are there. They were not adequately cited. So you need to look back at your literature and see what's going on. In terms of logic and flow, I think it was not so clear why we pursued this line of thought or this research question at all. And in terms of methodology, like the authors have already mentioned, lots of things, unit root test, structural break test. We could also do a simple correlation as well. And the results also, like I mentioned earlier, that you could do a world, we could take all countries of the world and do separate equations for separate regions and countries. The paper by Prima Faria from BRAC, it was on climate budgeting and institutional reforms. I think it very closely resembles something that we did at CPD on climate budget. So I'm not sure how novel or original that is in that sense, because much of the issues which you discussed were already covered by our policy brief. But it was, of course, very logically presented. The methodology is not particularly strong because it's just mostly a review paper. But in the sense of being a review paper, it is okay, it is good, and your results were clear. You had clear policy recommendations, and of course the findings were extremely significant for Bangladesh, so that was very clear. And that is it, I think, so we can now go back to the presentation. No, I have no other comments, so I congratulate all the presenters, and I hope you get your papers published, and thank you for participating in CPD Climate Week.
Thank you, Yusuf, for your very concise summary of these papers. It's very useful for them, I think. Now we are going to have another presenter, Ms. Sehar, right? Are you there? From Pakistan? Sehar? Ache? Okay, online. Yeah. Okay. Mr. Prema?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Once again, thank you.
Okay, please. Share screen. SEHAR. You have only 8 minutes. Sehar Irshad. Irshad. Any problem sharing screen? Oh, okay. We can see it.
Screen showing now.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you once again. As Ben can now start my presentations. As Bin Ki-moon once said, we are the first generations to feel the impact of climate change and the last that can do something about it. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Seher, and today I will present my research on build climate resilience in Pakistan, pathway for adaptation, medications, and sustainable governance. Pakistan stands at the front line of the climate crisis, from deadly floods of record, heat waves, and the presentation will explore how we can transform vulnerability into resilience through strong policies, long-term location actions, and sustainable governance. Our discussions about that the core idea of building resilience. Climate resilience means not just surviving disaster, but preparing adaptations and transforming communities to face future challenges. My focus today is on how adaptations, mitigations, and governance together can protect Pakistan environment and peoples. Pakistan ranks among the top 10 Pakistan climate vulnerable nations. Globally, in 2022, catastrophic floods displaced 33 million people and damaged one-third of our agriculture. We are also witnessing rising heat waves, glacier melt, and drought. These are not isolated events. These are clearly signs that we need urgent science-based climate planning. Aim of this study. The goal of this study is simply yet powerful to identify how Pakistan can become climate resilient. I explored 3 interlinked pillars: adaptations, preparing from impact, medication, reducing emissions, governance, ensure effects. Together, these shape a sustainable and secure future for our nation. And the fourth slide is literature review. Global study highlight Pakistan growing exposure. The IPCC 2020 warns that
you can
weak
skip the
governance
literature
and
review.
insufficient finance
Miss
we
Sehar,
are against GMM.
please skip the
Okay.
literature. Go to your main result or main conclusion. That would be helpful. We are end of the session almost.
Conclusion?
Thank you.
Thank you. And the conclusion, to calculate Pakistan climate journey is challenging by hopeful. True resilience depend on how we combine adaptation, mitigations, and governance.
You can show the methodology also.
Yes.
You can show the methodology.
Methodology.
Yes, yes. And the
Yes,
results.
sure.
And the results.
Thank you. Adaptation pathway and mitigation strategy, urban resilience. And policy pathway. And these are conclusions. Explain conclusion about my presentation.
Sorry, we couldn't give you so much time. Thank you so much for your presentation, but we are almost end of our
Thank you.
session.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you. So now I'm asking Istiak Raihan to say something about the subject.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to congratulate all the presenters for their excellent work and for their presentation. Every one of you added something valuable for the broader discussion on climate change, from governance and policy to ecology, economics, and community action. First, Tawhidul Islam research was fine example of scientific, data-driven environmental research. Their spatial modeling clearly showed how climate change will shift species distribution. And your works is on agarwood. And globally, there are billions of dollar market for agarwood, and the market is expanding. And there are two types of agarwood. One is natural agarwood, which is very expensive, and another one is artificial agarwood. So what is the prospect of Bangladesh for agarwood market? You think about how the agarwood market can be expanded in Bangladesh, and you can work on this topic, the prospect of agarwood market in Bangladesh. The second paper is Fahim. Fahim's research was very original and thought-provoking works. The concept of econolex was very creative and intellectually stimulating, and the way he combined economic theory with environmental law showed real innovation. But the work looks like the Lindell framework, and in environmental economics, we know Lindell framework. Lindell suggests if everyone pay voluntarily, the public goods will be provided. But unfortunately, no one shows his actual benefit from public goods. That's why the public goods cannot be provided when we voluntarily contribution. Some government tax has to be imposed. So your model is so theoretical, and you should work further with your model. How can we estimate? How can we quantify? Then this model can be very innovative model. Thank you for your work. Sadat Saqib's and his team's work was technically rigorous. It's provided valuable hydrological data and used GIS-based method to analyze river dynamics, Jamuna. This is a very good paper. Shoagi Akhtar's paper demonstrated excellent technical and econometric skill. His paper was environmental Kuznets curve. She has some methodological issue, as I mentioned. One is for panel second generation unit to test, another for research gap, and some recent econometric technique, panel second generation estimation. So I suggest her to address this recent econometric techniques in his paper. And finally, Prima Faria's paper on climate budgeting and institutional reform in Bangladesh was very strong in analysis and real world relevance. It is a, I think, literature review paper. And I suggest her, there are some methodology for literature review paper, systematic review, or it can be meta-analysis. So if she strengthened her methodology part, this paper would be very outstanding paper. So these are some observation from my side. Overall, this session was beautiful reflection of how interdisciplinary collaboration can lead us to new insight and real solution. I want to sincerely thank all the participants for their clear presentation, thoughtful response, and commitment to climate action. And thanks to CPD. Thank you.
Thank you. Now,
Thank you, everyone. First of all, what is most enthusiastic about today's session is that all of you are young and you are thinking so innovatively. Second most convincing factor is you are technically rigorous, which is good. I mean, at your age, I was not this much rigorous in terms of methodology and other issues. Having said that, there are certain things I would like to mention. Let me start with the last presentation, which was delivered on designed for stream 1. I thank you very much for attending this session, and I really honor your effort you have made, though it is a wrong stream, but what have you done, you can do far better by incorporating few other factors, and I would like to acknowledge your efforts you have made from a distant country. For this stream, lot has been said by the previous speakers, but there are a few things I would like to mention. For all the papers, I mean, I am not going to, as my previous speakers have made a paper-specific analysis, I am not going to analyze each of the paper individually, but in general, a remark I would like to make is, while quantitative, data-driven, empirical, evidence-based study is important, it is equally important to relate the study you are doing with my socio-economic situation. For example, the Econolex paper I would like to bring, I have really liked the idea, and I would like to request to work on this issue, but you need to understand that why it is important, how it can contribute to advance my society given the concurrent challenges. Across the paper, by listening to all of you, what I have understood is, I mean, the advice I would like to put on the table for you, that you need to specify the existing gap, the significance of your study, and the relevance of the output you are making with the socio-economic advancement of the country or the specific area you would like to address. I mean, if these things are there, then it will be very much convincing and easy for you to put forward to the policy level where the decisions are made and from where the actual impact you can brought. Because those who are in the in charge of making policies, they have thousands of reports to go through. So your work must be easy to read and then well clarified, and it should like a knitting. আমি যদি বাংলায় বলি যে আপনারা যদি কখনো উল দিয়ে কাপড় বুনতে দেখেন যে একটা সুতার উপর আরেকটা সুতো একটা একটা করে যায়, research is, to my understanding, research is like that. I mean, the flow, the coherence should be like a river. I mean, one section should lead to another. I had the chance to look few paper, and I think you may pay attention working on that paper. With that note, I would like to thank you all very much.
thank you. Now, concluding session. After that, you are invited to have snacks there at 5 p.m. I don't know whether it is ready or not. It is ready, right? Okay, good. So again, distinguished panelists and judges, my colleagues, scholars, and participants from online and in person. As we conclude today's insightful session, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all our presenters for their wonderful presentation. I don't want to go one by one because I've been in the research department for 33 years. If I want to analyze all this methodology, I think I have need the full session. So please try your best. I really appreciate your efforts because I review your abstract. Then I now have chance to see your paper. I want to see some of the paper to be published, of course. And all the papers have brought to light some of the most pressing and complex challenges at the intersection of climate finance, governance, and social justice in the world, particularly in Bangladesh. So across all the presentation, a common thread to me emerged that the need for inclusive, decentralized, and justice-oriented climate governance, whether it is through better data transparency, participatory planning, or empowering local institutions, we must ensure that climate finance reaches those who need it most and that it delivers measurable resilience on the ground. Let us carry forward the insights into our research, policy making, and advocacy. And the road to climate resilience is not only technical, but also deeply political, social, and ethical. Thank you once again for your presence and participation, both in person and online. And I'd like to thank the CPD, the young research team, and the leader, Executive Director, Dr. Fahmida Khatun, and also Fakhruddin Al-Kabir and the Communication and Publication Department. They worked so hard to make these things happen. I think last 3 months, I have been joining here for 2 months. I can see at how can they utilize their energy for doing something they like. So I would like to thank from me that doing the successful 2 days seminar. But we have 2 more days left, right? 2 more days left. So we need to see what's going to happen next. Let's continue this dialogue beyond today and work together toward a more just and climate resilient future. And from me, that's all. With that, I conclude the session. Thank you so much. Okay. I think paper presenter will have an announcement that from this section, so do they know that? But আমাদের গুলো তো দিই নাই আমাদের গুলো দিই নাই তো Hmm? 15 minutes. Wait for stream 4. For stream 4, right? All results or only all results? Okay, online. Okay. Voice. You will hear a voice that will announce the best paper from this session and other 3 sessions as well, right? For all sessions. 1 paper will be selected from each session. There will be 4 papers. 4 best papers. 6. Oh, okay, 6. Okay. Okay. না ওই যে একটা ভয়েস শুনি না আর ওই অডিবল ওর থেকে হবে না ওকে মানে ফখরুদ্দিন করবে মনে হচ্ছে না আচ্ছা